This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, July 1st, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Some Democratic Party members are complaining DNC leadership is trying to brush off President Biden's debate performance. I'm Jackie Quinn.
A rapidly intensifying storm in the Atlantic.
We have a hurricane warning that's been issued.
I'm Clayton Neville.
The Supreme Court is set to rule on the scope of presidential immunity.
That looming threat will distort the president's decision-making.
I'm Pamela Furr.
On alert, military bases in Europe. We'll tell you why.
On Wall Street, it's the first trading day of July, the third quarter, and the second half of the year. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Police body cam video shows the moment a Utica, New York police officer shoots and kills a 13-year-old. Julie Walker, New York.
All ahead on America in the Morning. Biden's chances to win re-election. Speculation was running rampant with reports on private questioning within the Democratic Party. As correspondent Jackie Quinn reports, key Democrats are stepping forward to support President Biden after his poor performance during the debate. But within the party, Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin told MSNBC that while they stand behind the president, there are real concerns.
Obviously, there was a big problem with Joe Biden's debate performance. And there's also just a tremendous reservoir of affection and love for Joe Biden in our party. And so this makes it a difficult situation for everybody. But there are very honest and serious and rigorous conversations taking place at every level of our party because it is a political party and we have differences of point of view.
Some Democratic Party members are complaining DNC leadership is trying to brush off President Biden's troubling debate performance. Some members on a Democratic National Committee conference call this weekend are telling the Associated Press their leadership is largely ignoring Biden's weak showing Thursday night and feel they're being told to ignore the dire nature of the party's predicament.
Between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, only one candidate on that stage has the endorsement of his own vice president.
He had a bad night. I've been in this town for a long time. I've seen ups and I've seen downs. Donald Trump all he did was make me more nervous. Again, he doubled down on Roe versus Wade. He thought January 6th was okay. Yeah, go ahead, hang my vice president. I don't think that's okay.
I think the president is absolutely capable of serving 4 more years, and I believe that the president will serve another 4 more years.
That was strike one. If this were a ball game, he's got 2 more swings.
Some party strategists and donors are calling for the 81-year-old Biden to step aside. But Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock says Biden should stay in.
America is better, a whole lot better, than Donald Trump. And we've had a primary. It's our job to demonstrate that. The world is watching and our children are counting on us to get this right.
He spoke on NBC's Meet the Press, where Donald Trump supporter Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota says the president's weakness was obvious.
All of America saw it, and you know who else saw it? Yeah. Our adversaries saw it. Putin saw it.
I'm Jackie Quinn.
The first major hurricane of the season is churning in the Atlantic, and it's turned into a dangerous weather maker that could potentially get even stronger. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports Hurricane Beryl is already an historic storm.
Beryl is the earliest Category 4 hurricane on record in the Atlantic Ocean and the only Category 4 storm ever recorded in the month of June. Yesterday, Beryl brought maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour.
Dangerous hurricane force winds, the eye wall of a major hurricane passing somewhere through the Windward Islands, the potential for life-threatening storm surge.
National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan.
We have a hurricane warning that's been issued for Barbados. We have a hurricane watch in effect for St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, down to Grenada. Everywhere in this hurricane watch and warning area is at risk of the eye wall of a major hurricane moving through that region.
Beryl strengthened quickly, increasing by more than 50 miles per hour in just a 24-hour span. They call that rapid intensification. quick and early. The average date for the first hurricane is August 11th. Director Brennan says the impacts could be severe.
Also at risk of that life-threatening storm surge, we could see surge as high as 5 to 7 feet above normal tide levels with the addition of destructive wave action on top of that storm surge.
The Barbados Prime Minister encouraged all non-essential businesses on that island to close. Residents and visitors hunkered down as the center of Beryl is expected to pass near that island. Officials in St. Lucia also taking precautions. The National Hurricane Center says that this hurricane season, warmer waters in the Atlantic basin have given tropical storms and hurricanes the chance to develop more rapidly in a more eastward position, essentially allowing storms to become more powerful. I'm Clayton Neville.
Presidential immunity. High court to decide. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning on where those thunderstorms will be today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
We are starting off the month of July and the holiday week in general, much in the same way as this past month. We have a storm moving out of the northern Rockies into the northern plains, which will trigger several showers and thunderstorms through the Dakotas into Minnesota and Nebraska, eastward to Iowa. Some of these areas have been hit hard and are at greater risk for flash flooding as a result. Some of the storms will also have the potential to produce gusty winds, hail, and even a tornado, and these storms will carry on into Wisconsin tonight. The southern portion of the system overall will produce some showers and thunderstorms through the central Rockies into the Four Corners. Farther east, through the Great Lakes into much of the southeast and continuing through the middle Atlantic and most of New England, high pressure will hold sway over a good swath of the area. This will lead to a good amount of sunshine and highs in the 70s in the north and then warming into the mid-90s farther south. There'll be some showers and thunderstorms along a slow-moving cold front in coastal North Carolina and into eastern South Carolina, and then bending westward along the Gulf Coast states through Louisiana. A few of these storms could produce drenching rainfall. A couple of showers and thunderstorms will also develop in portions of eastern New England, with a weak system sliding through the region. But a large part of the day will be dry with sunshine and highs in the 70s. It is going to be hot in portions of the west today. It'll only be increasing as high pressure builds throughout the week. Highs this afternoon will soar well into the hundreds in the California valleys. That's the weather across America. It's going to be a hot day in Dallas, Texas, with plenty of sunshine and a high 101. More comfortable weather has shifted into Hartford, Connecticut, with variable clouds and a shower in spots and a high of 79. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
I'm John Trout. Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The Supreme Court is expected to make a major decision later today on presidential immunity. Pamela Furr tells us more.
All eyes are watching what comes from the High Court today.
If a president can be charged, put on trial, and imprisoned for his most controversial decisions as soon as he leaves office, that looming threat will distort the president's decision-making precisely when bold and fearless action is most needed.
That was Attorney John Sauer back in April, arguing in front of the justices the claim from former President Donald Trump that he should have complete absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for all his actions while he was president. Now, the case stems from the January 6th case against him and could have major implications not only for Trump, but for future presidents. The January 6th trial was supposed to start back in March, but was delayed when the High Court took up the challenge. Legal experts are saying the ruling does not have to be a yes or no ruling. There actually could be some type of hybrid ruling. And depending on what it is later on today, this could move the case forward, and there could be a trial before the November election. I'm Pamela Furr.
Several U.S. military bases across Europe are now operating under a heightened state of alert. Fox News is reporting that the alert level of force protection condition Charlie was put in place over the weekend. That's the second highest state of alert, which says an incident occurs or intelligence is received indicating some form of terrorist action or targeting against personnel or facilities is likely. The bases that increased their threat levels to Charlie include European Command Headquarters in Stuttgart, Germany, and the Aviano Air Base in Italy. One air base in Germany ordered their airmen not to wear their uniforms off the base as a precaution and must wear only civilian clothing. The post-debate Medicare boost when America in the Morning continues after these messages. We turn the calendar on a new month. Welcome back here with America in the Morning. The Business Report is sponsored by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments takes a disciplined approach with investing, helping clients navigate volatile markets. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning to start July trading. It's also the start of the third quarter and the second half of the year after a really strong first half for stocks. Year to date, the NASDAQ leading the way, up about 18%. The S&P 500 index is up about 14%. A lot of Americans have an S&P 500 index fund in a retirement account. It's been doing great. The Dow up 3% so far year to date. Some investors are optimistic for stocks for the second half of the year, too.
Man, we've had a great first half of the year. We can move into Q3. There's a lot of great things going on. I think we're staying bullish.
Vance Capital's Vance Howard on CNBC and others point out a split.
I mean, overall, we have this market that's up about 15%. But when you look underneath the hood, year to date, about 40% of stocks in the S&P are actually down. So it's a split market. Tech and communications and services are really driving the gains. That's the way the market composition is.
Truist's Keith Lerner on CNBC. Medicare-related health stocks popped on Friday after the presidential debate on the notion that a Trump White House would ease regulations for insurers and make their reimbursements easier and more lucrative. Shares were higher for Medicare Advantage leaders like United Health, Humana, and CVS Health. Warren Buffett gave away more than $5 billion heading into the weekend, all to charities, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He still has more than $130 billion left in Berkshire Hathaway shares.
It wasn't just the debate that had the GOP celebrating. What was it this weekend?
They got a big win from the Supreme Court. The Chevron doctrine was overturned, which will likely lead to less regulation and fatter profits.
For a generation, conservatives and business groups have been campaigning to overturn a Supreme Court ruling that was little known outside legal circles, but had huge influence in the balance of power between companies and the government in Washington. It's the so-called Chevron doctrine. They got their wish. Now, the Chevron doctrine stems from 1984 Supreme Court ruling in Chevron versus the Natural Resources Defense Council, holding that federal agencies have the power to interpret laws passed by Congress whenever there's any gray area. Conservatives generally said that gave far too much power to regulatory agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency. The Biden administration argued that overturning the Chevron doctrine, which has been in place now for 40 years, would generate a convulsive shock to the legal system. Now we'll find out just what that convulsive shock looks like.
CNBC's Eamon Javers. On today's watch list, economic data include construction spending numbers and the Cedar Fair and Six Flags amusement park merger expected to close today. The ticker symbol there would be FUN. Wimbledon tennis begins today in London.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, homeless encampments, Supreme Court rules after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Welcome back. Police in Utica, New York have released body cam footage which shows a 13-year-old Asian teen attempting to flee police, armed unknowingly by police at the time with a replica Glock 17 pistol. Julie Walker has the latest.
Police body cam video shows the moment a Utica, New York police officer shoots and kills a 13-year-old. Police say they were investigating break-ins Friday night, stopped Nimeway and a companion, but the 13-year-old took off. Gun! With an officer yelling, he spotted a gun. He was tackled to the ground and shot by Officer Patrick Husney.
Got shots fired. On the scene, officers did recover a replica Glock 17 handgun with a detachable magazine. This replica handgun was ultimately found to be a pellet gun.
Police Chief Mark Williams explaining during a news conference covered by WKTV that became contentious with community members.
While fleeing, the youth displayed what appeared to be a handgun.
It turned out to be a replica gun that shot pellets. The shooting being investigated. The officers put on leave. Julie Walker, New York.
As we await today's Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity, the justices also released their opinion on homeless encampments. Correspondent Rita Foley reports.
This ruling comes as more and more people in the nation have no permanent place to live. The High Court's 6-3 decision reversed a ruling by a San Francisco-based appeals court that found outdoor sleeping bans amount to cruel and unusual punishment. Some leaders in western states had argued that outdoor camps were poking onto sidewalks and other public spaces. Homeless advocates, on the other hand, said allowing cities to punish people who need a place to sleep would criminalize homelessness and make the crisis worse. Reading from the bench in a dissent to the High Court decision, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said sleep is a biological necessity, not a crime. I'm Rita Foley.
America in the Morning for Monday, July 1st, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
President Biden and his family gathered to discuss whether he should drop out of the presidential race. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
It's the finale of the month-long celebration of LGBTQ plus pride. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Parents in Uvalde, Texas say it's the start of accountability. I'm Clayton Neville.
The UN Security Council has been presented with evidence of North Korean missiles being used in Ukraine. Ben Thomas, Washington.
A mass killer in Texas learns his fate. A deal for Boeing in the works, and more fallout from an Arkansas mass shooting.
The box office rebound continues with Inside Out barely topping A Quiet Place Day 1. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. 100-plus degree temperatures won't be uncommon for some this week. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
It is going to be hot in portions of the west today, and this is only increasing as high pressure builds into the region throughout the holiday week. Highs this afternoon will soar well into the 100s in the California valleys, into the desert southwest. And then later this week, some all-time records could be challenged in these areas. The southern plains will also be largely dry with sunshine and a hot afternoon. Highs will be well into the 90s and 100s. And then heading into the northern plains, we have a storm system moving out of the northern Rockies into the region, which will trigger several showers and thunderstorms through the Dakotas into Minnesota and Nebraska eastward to Iowa. Some of these areas have been hit hard and are at greater risk for flash flooding as a result. Some of the storms will have the potential to produce gusty winds, hail, and even a tornado. And then these storms will move into Wisconsin tonight. The southern portion of the system overall will produce some showers and thunderstorms through the central Rockies into the Four Corners. Farther east through the Great Lakes into much of the southeast and continuing through the middle Atlantic and most of New England, high pressure will hold sway over a good swath of the region. This will lead to a good amount of sunshine with highs in the north in the 70s and then warming into the mid-90s farther south. There will still be some showers and thunderstorms along a slow cold front through the coastal North Carolina area and eastern South Carolina, and then bending along the Gulf Coast states through Louisiana. A few of these storms could produce drenching rainfall, and we'll also have a couple of showers and a thunderstorm developing over eastern New England. This weak system is sliding through the region, but a large part of the day will be dry with sunshine and highs in the 70s. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
I'm John Trout. Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Biden and his family gathered in Camp David over the weekend. The topic? Whether the president should continue his quest for re-election, as many in his own party urge him to step out of the race. John Stolnis has the latest from Washington.
The president and his family strategized ways to fix Thursday night's halting debate performance and discussed the wisdom of him stepping down as the Democratic nominee. It does not appear as if that's going to happen, at least not yet. Reports indicate the Biden family is urging the president to stay in the race. The morning after the debate, President Biden spoke to supporters in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said that while he did not have his best night, it was still better than Trump's performance.
Did you see Trump last night? My guess he set, I mean it sincerely, a new record for the most lies told in a single debate. I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
Those close to the Biden family appear to be aiming their ire at campaign officials who prepped Biden for the debate, including top Democratic donor John Morgan, who wrote on social media that those who prepped him committed, quote, political malpractice. At a rally in Virginia on Friday, President Trump said all that prep work did nothing for the president.
Despite the fact that crooked Joe Biden spent the entire week at Camp David resting, working, studying. He studied very hard. He studied so hard that he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Democratic Senator and pastor Raphael Warnock was asked on NBC's Meet the Press if Biden should step aside.
Oh, absolutely not. You know, they say if it's Sunday morning, it's Meet the Press. I'll tell you as a pastor, it's for me, it's church time. And I can tell you that there have been more than a few Sundays when I wish I had preached a better sermon.
In order for delegates to vote for someone other than President Biden, he would have to voluntarily step down. Speculation has already begun on who would replace him should he do that, including Vice President Kamala Harris and Democratic governors, including California's Gavin Newsom, Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro, and Andy Beshear of Kentucky. Republican National Committee Chair Michael Whatley on The Hill Sunday says he doesn't think Biden will be leaving the race anytime soon.
They're not going to be able to get him out without his consent. There is no process that would allow for them to have an insurgency and remove him from their convention unless he's going to step down, and we certainly don't see any indication of that.
A new CBS News YouGov poll conducted after the debate finds 72% of registered voters polled believe President Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president. That's up 7 points from June 9th. John Stolnis, Washington.
Yesterday, the last day of Pride Month, and across the nation there were parades and events marking the occasion. But as correspondent Jackie Quinn reports, there were also protests, including in New York, where anti-Israel demonstrators, some carrying Palestinian and Hamas flags, threw fake blood and damaged a human rights float and blocked the parade, forcing police to make arrests.
I think it's really important for everyone to come together and celebrate everybody and how different everybody is, but we're all unified by our sexuality.
And to make people appreciate and treat each other as equals. And to support my child, Julian. Hi.
It's the finale of the month-long celebration of LGBTQ plus Pride with parades in major cities. As in years past, revelers and rainbow flags in big cities like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. The wide-ranging festivities highlight steps forward for the LGBTQ plus community, but also call attention to recent laws passed in conservative states that take away rights, including bans on transgender care. And this year, the parades are expecting pro-Palestinian activists. They've disrupted some other Pride events in Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, exposing a split among liberal groups that are generally aligned on other issues. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Families of victims in the 2022 Uvalde, Texas elementary school massacre are reacting to what they call a major step toward accountability. Correspondent Clayton Neville has been following the story.
19 students and 2 teachers were shot and killed inside Robb Elementary School. It was 77 minutes before police charged the classroom and took out the shooter. A police response referred to by state police says an abject failure.
There was a sufficient number of armed officers wearing body armor to isolate, distract, and neutralize the subject.
Texas DPS Director Steve McCraw pointed blame directly on former Uvalde ISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo.
The only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander, who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children.
Arredondo was arrested late last week, charged with 10 counts of abandoning, injuring a child. He later posted bail and was released. Kimberly Rubio lost her daughter in the massacre and told NBC News that hundreds of responding officers, including school district police, Uvalde officers, and state troopers, truly failed the victims.
There were dozens of officers that arrived there early that knew that children were in the classroom, that knew that there was an active shooter, and they chose to do nothing.
Brett Cross's son was killed in the shooting. He also spoke with NBC.
I think that they should have to do a year for every minute that these children were in there alone.
Another officer also recently charged. 51-year-old Adrian Gonzalez heard the shots on campus that day and didn't engage the shooter, allegedly. He's facing 29 felony counts of abandoning and endangering a child. The indictment says Gonzalez placed 29 children in, quote, imminent danger of injury or death. I'm Clayton Neville.
When we return on America in the Morning, migrant murderer sentenced. IRS eyes crypto. Those stories and more after these messages. We're back. This is America in the Morning. I'm John Trout. Concerns overseas in the war between Russia and Ukraine, and specifically where some of the weapons Russia is using against Kyiv are coming from. As correspondent Ben Thomas reports, a weapons expert has told the UN his organization has irrefutably established missile debris found in Ukraine following a Russian bombardment is that of being of North Korean origin.
In January 2024,
Jonah Leff, executive director of Conflict Armament Research, offered a detailed analysis of remnants of a ballistic missile that struck Kharkiv on January 2nd.
Carr documented the missile's rocket motor, its tail section.
Showing the council photos of the remnants, he said they had unique features indicating it was manufactured in North Korea last year. Leff says the evidence
irrefutably establishes that the missile fired on Kharkiv was indeed of DPRK origin.
The U.S. and its Western allies accused North Korea and Russia of violating a UN embargo on arms exports from the DPRK. Russia dismissed the accusations as baseless. Ben Thomas, Washington.
A man found to be responsible for the deaths of 8 migrants in Texas has received a lengthy prison sentence. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
35-year-old George Alvarez was found guilty of intoxication manslaughter in the deaths of 8 people struck by the SUV he was driving at a crowded bus stop outside a migrant shelter in Brownsville, Texas. Alvarez was also convicted on 10 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Authorities say Alvarez lost control of his vehicle after running a red light in May 2023 and that he had cocaine in his system. Alvarez was sentenced to 60 years in prison. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
U.S. prosecutors plan to seek a guilty plea from Boeing over a charge tied to 2 fatal crashes of 737 MAX planes. Justice Department attorneys and victims' family members and their lawyers spoke for about 2 hours yesterday, Sunday, discussing the plan. The DOJ said in May that it was reviewing whether Boeing violated a 2021 settlement that protected the company from federal charges tied to the 2018 and 2019 crashes of its best-selling 737 MAX planes, which killed all 346 people on the 2 overseas flights. The DOJ revisited the settlement agreement after a new Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 door panel blew off in mid-flight over Oregon, sparking new safety concerns. America in the Morning continues. There's more fallout following a mass supermarket shooting over a week ago in Arkansas that killed 4 people and wounded nearly a dozen others. As correspondent Haya Panjwani reports, the 3,200 townsfolk not only lost 4 of their own neighbors, but also lost the town's only grocery store.
We are distributing food to people because the grocery store is closed and it's the only grocery store in town.
That's volunteer Rhonda Lawson in Fordyce, Arkansas. In the days since a gunman killed 4 people and injured 10 others at the Mad Butcher Grocery, this town of 3,200 people has been grieving and grappling with the shock of a mass killing.
It's just heartbreaking, and it's impacted everybody because everybody knows everybody.
The Mad Butcher is the only grocery store in the South Arkansas town, and it remained closed as workers cleaned up from the aftermath, leaving residents with few nearby alternatives. So volunteers at Fordyce High School set up to hand out groceries. Though the town has a Walmart and other discount retailers, the closest grocery stores or supermarkets are located in neighboring cities half an hour away. I'm Haya Panjwani.
The IRS wants to know how much crypto you made this year and every year. But don't worry, they're expecting your crypto exchange to report them on your behalf. Here's tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
The Treasury Department finalized a rule on Friday requiring cryptocurrency brokers, including exchanges and payment processors, to report new information on user sales and exchanges of digital assets to the IRS. The Treasury proposed the rule last year, arguing that the scope of the definition of a broker was too broad and that the requirements violated the privacy of crypto owners. The Treasury reviewed more than 44,000 comments on the proposal and said it has anticipated issuing additional rules later this year to establish a reporting requirement for all decentralized crypto exchanges. The Treasury further emphasized that crypto owners have always owed taxes on the sale or exchange of digital assets, and the new rule simply created reporting requirements to help taxpayers file more accurate returns. Bitcoin still hovering around 62,000 and Ethereum trading up slightly at 3,400. You can leave a comment at the new website, allthetoptech.tech. I'm Chuck Palm.
This is the Monday edition of America in the Morning. We're up to sports with Robert Workman.
Baseball Sunday, 2 weeks until the All-Star break. The Rangers romped over the Orioles 11-2 last night. Wyatt Langford hit for the cycle. First guy to do that in the majors this year. Royals ripped the Guardians 6-2. Seth Lugo fanned 10 and became the first pitcher to 11 wins this season. Yankees routed the Blue Jays 8-1. Aaron Judge hit his league-leading 31st dinger. Garrett Cole got his first win.
I thought it was a good blend of stuff and command, and pitched pretty smart for the most part. So it was a good day.
Elsewhere, the Cardinals shut out the Reds. Lance Lynn and the Secret Chimps with a 2-hitter. Astros waited out a nearly 3-hour rain delay, then scored 5 times in the 11th to beat the Mets. Rockies outlasted the White Sox in 14 innings. Tigers, Red Sox, Brewers, Pirates, Diamondbacks, and Phillies win. Soccer, the U.S. men face Uruguay tonight in the Copa America. It's a must-win as they wrap up group play. At Euro 2024, England and Spain advance to the quarterfinals. On the first day of NBA free agency, Chris Paul leaves the Warriors for the Spurs. His Golden State teammate Klay Thompson being wooed by LeBron James and the Lakers, as well as the Mavericks. James Harden plans to re-up with the Clippers, while Paul George is leaving L.A. with the Sixers his prime suitor. Players can officially sign contracts on Saturday. NHL free agency begins today, as does Wimbledon, the 137th edition of the championships. Carlos Alcaraz and Marketa Vondrousova are the defending champions. Jannik Sinner and Iga Swiatek the top seeds. And it's official, Simone Biles will lead the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team in Paris.
Because I've been in their exact same spot, so I know exactly how they're feeling, and if I can be a mentor and a guide, then that's what I'm going to do.
At 27, she's the oldest U.S. female gymnast since the 1950s. That's Monday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. When we return on America in the Morning, $1 billion in less than 3 weeks after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. Tributes are pouring in for actor and comic Martin Mull from TV's Fernwood Tonight and the show Roseanne, who died at the age of 80. Entertainment correspondent Julie Walker has more.
Here's a clip with Vicki Lawrence from his 2018 sitcom, The Cool Kids.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys, but no. Cooking is just a hobby I picked up when I retired. Like what are we talking about?
Ben and Jerry started as a fun hobby, too, and look at them now.
Yeah, I don't care about your other friends.
He got his first Emmy nomination as a guest actor on Veep.
To me, what I did on Veep, I'm very proud of. But I'd like to think it's probably more collective. At my age, it's more collective. It might go all the way back to Fernwood.
Mole became nationally famous on Mary Hartman, and had the starring role in its spin-off Fernwood Tonight. I'm Julie Walker.
Another big weekend at the box office ahead of the July 4th holiday. Inside Out 2 breaks a financial barrier in the process. Kevin Carr has details.
Box office champ Inside Out 2 three-peated this weekend with $57 million.
And things couldn't be better.
Leading the summer box office rebound, the new Pixar sequel has made $469 million domestically and cracked $1 billion worldwide, becoming the first film since last summer's juggernaut Barbie to do so.
We can help each other. We have to get out of the city.
In a strong second place was A Quiet Place Day One, silencing $53 million for the weekend.
Save everyone we can. I have a plan.
This is the best opening for the horror franchise, making almost $100 million worldwide for its first run.
That looks like a promising place.
The place I might be able to see myself.
The third spot belongs to Chapter 1 of Kevin Costner's Horizon, an American Saga, with $11 million. That's not great for the partially self-financed epic Western. It's unclear if its core audience isn't racing to see it in the theaters on the first weekend because they're waiting for streaming, or they're still salty after the multi-hyphenate bowed out of the end of Yellowstone.
I need Nasty Mike, bad boy!
In the fourth spot was Bad Boys Ride or Die with $10 million.
See, Mike, that's how you command the universe.
Finally, rising into the top 5 was Kalki 2898 AD, a Telugu sci-fi epic about the avatar of Vishnu fulfilling a prophecy, whipped up $5.5 million. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Monday, July 1st, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Our senior producer is Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.